comedian Davey Jackson, who has been working on a really big project. We talked about it last time he was here, undercovering what is happening in Dearborn, Michigan. And he had all of these, you guys went, you're like, what is happening with this Muslim takeover? And I want to first, before I ask you these questions about what is happening in Michigan and your documentary, which I want to get to, I started thinking last time you were here, I was like, what made you want to get into this? Like, what made you go, I'm gonna investigate this? And the answer was that you basically got canceled for telling a joke about Muhammad.
Yes.
And so I think we have that. Let's go ahead and play that.
This guy got upset because I posted about Muhammad's wild ride on the Al Zut midnight train and demanded that I take it down. Obviously, that's not happening, especially because you didn't ask nicely, Champagne Habib. Best I can do is tell you another story about the time Muhammad's 6-year-old wife had to clean baby batter off his clothes. This is another historically documented incident that you can read about in several different hadiths. Here's one narrated by Aisha. I used to wash the semen from the garment of the Prophet, and he used to go for prayer while water spots were still visible on it. Ew, dude. Ever heard of a sock, bro? You can't just be blowing loads on your clothes. That's a rookie move. Now, this camel cream could have been the result of a standard gooning incident or maybe a misfire while he was banging his child bride. But knowing what we know about the men of Al-Zut, this could have been leftovers from a desert bareback situation. And if you're wondering why information like this has been preserved over the centuries, it's so people can understand how to properly clean cum stains for religious purposes. So to recap, this is the guy that's mad at me, and I don't know if they took this picture before he figured out what to do with his hands or what's going on here, but I love the outdoor mask. Anyway, I hope this helps Champagne Habib, and if y'all like this, I can also tell you some weird Bible stories.
So you made a joke about Muhammad in the desert.
Well, the story goes that, he went out to the desert with one of his buddies, Abdullah, and then Abdullah watched Muhammad draw a circle around him and say, hey, don't leave this circle or you'll die. And then he goes off into the desert, and several tall, dark men, as the story goes, began to ride him like a pony and rode him all night long. And when Muhammad came back, peace be upon him, he was tired and worn out and laid down with his head in Abdullah's lap.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean...
You're not allowed to talk about that, though.
Well, look, scholars will say it's not a, valid hadith, that it's a weak hadith. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the story's still out there, and it's been preserved for centuries.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to joke about that, actually. You can joke about Christians.
Which I have.
You can joke about Jews. You can joke about atheists. You can joke about literally every other religion. Yeah. Oh. Every other religion.
Of all Mormons? I have gone in on Mormons.
And this one, not so much.
Oh, this one, immediately. It was this Champagne Habib guy came after me. He was threatening me, trying to intimidate me, saying he was going to sue me, got me canceled. I mean, I had multiple shows canceled because of this guy.
Just that one guy.
That one guy. And then was told I could never perform in New York ever again.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow, you were exiled from New York comedy,
which isn't the worst thing.
Yeah.
The Comedy Cellar is legendary. The Stand, all that. I'd love to perform there. But yeah, so he pulled whatever strings he had.
So you started going, okay, this is weird. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you guys so protective of this one particular religion?
Exactly.
And so you went to Dearborn.
So we went to Dearborn because that is the largest Muslim majority city in America. And there were already all kinds of stories coming out about it. They had the call to prayer situation getting blasted over loudspeakers. They had this name that was named after, or a street that was named after this guy, Osama Sablani. There were FBI raids, terror plots, supposedly ISIS-inspired stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what we went to investigate and just talk to some of the people there and try to understand, hey, what's going on in your city? Is there actually a takeover? Is it as bad as everyone's saying, or is this being blown out of proportion on social media? And obviously, mainstream media wasn't covering it at all.
Sure.
There was nothing.
Sure.
Just like the Iran situation right now, no one's touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people are just really scared to talk about Islam.
Yeah.
And we actually found out when we went to Dearborn, people in Dearborn were also afraid to talk about it.
Really?
Yeah, we were supposed to interview a guy at a church, and one of the church administrative people found out that we were going to be doing this interview, and she was like, oh, no, you have to leave. You can't be here. And so we got kicked out of a church.
Wow.
Trying to interview a guy about what's going on in Dearborn.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because it does feel like anyone who lives near any of these Muslim communities, whether it's Dearborn, whether it's in Minnesota, I mean, it's all of these Somali communities or Muslim, whatever you want to call them. They're all Muslim, and there's a lot of fear. Like we were just talking off air about Minnesota. Nick Shirley now has to have security because he's getting so many threats.
Yeah.
So apparently they're very violent when you call out certain aspects of their religion.
Well, yeah, because they're used to being able to use political and religious intimidation in the countries that they come from.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe they've been politically intimidated or religious, whatever. But like Nick Shirley, he got to Dearborn the day after we left.
Wow.
He was there with Jake Lang when they did that whole Sharia law protest. With Jake Lang, I will fight that guy. That guy is a and a fraud. I do not like him, but Nick Shirley is doing some really good stuff. And it's a shame that, a bootstrap journalist like this guy is just taking all this heat for asking questions. I mean, that's insane. And uncovering all this fraud, and no one wants to. Right. Tim Walz wants to blame everyone but the actual culprits.
Right, exactly.
Bonkers to me.
I know. So you went to the city council. You spoke at the city council meeting as well. And I think that we have a clip of that. I wouldn't call them receptive to any of your concerns. Let's play some of that.
Do you think people in Dearborn are afraid to express their opinion because of fear of retaliation and targeting? Because that's really what it seems like to me. A gentleman came here, a minister, an immigrant, as a matter of fact, expressed his concerns about what was happening in Dearborn, specifically with the renaming of a street. And he was called Islamophobic, a racist, a bigot. He's been attacked online. He's been attacked in town, and he truly is living in fear. Right. Have you considered that potentially these elected officials are in fact the racists and the bigots?
Or who asked that you be removed from the room?
I feel like the council needs to address this to me directly. Can you please just give me an answer why this is not being addressed? If Mayor Hammoud was in the wrong, can the council apologize on his behalf, especially if he is not willing to apologize? Why can't we do this? Why can we not just acknowledge and even issue a retraction potentially?
Please sit down. Thank you.
I gotta tell you, I'm just surprised that there was like at least one white person on that council.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Looks
of
like
them.
a couple, yeah.
They all sympathize,
of course.
They're
of course. Well, you can't get elected there if you don't.
Right, because it's a Muslim majority city.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. You got Jacob Frey dancing on a stage with a bunch of Somalis, and it's because he relies on their votes. These people rely on those votes.
There he is. Look at him.
What a cuck! I mean,
He's such a loser.
And get some better dance moves too.
I know.
Just making white guys look bad.
He really is. Like if you have white guy moves, just don't dance.
Yeah.
Actually. So last time you were here, you guys talked about breaking into a safe house.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. I think a normal person is like, I may have done that, but I'm not going to admit it publicly. You guys are like, no, we did it. Actually, we broke all the laws. And we now have a clip of that. Let's watch.
Dude, we gotta get the out of here.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
Were you guys scared at all?
We should have been. Probably normal people probably would have been like a little anxious about what we were doing. As when we were watching this footage after the fact, me and Gary both were just like, what were we thinking?
So you had no idea we were walking into.
None whatsoever. In fact, the guy that gave us the tip about this safe house was like, hey, don't go over there. It's really dangerous. Everyone knows it's really dangerous. And we were both
Don't do it.
We're definitely going to go check it out. Yeah.
Now that you said that, we're definitely going to go do it.
Absolutely. And the thing that you can't necessarily see it in this video, but there is a mosque directly next to this safe house, right? And there's a secret back entrance. I think we talked about that a little bit. So I hopped the fence. Gary went through the secret back entrance, apropos. But that footage that you're seeing, the best that we can tell, and I've dabbled a bit, so I've got a little bit of experience, and that is almost 100% a meth lab.
It certainly looks like they're making substances there.
They're manufacturing something down there. And
so are we looking at like a Muslim meth ring?
So here's our best working theory. And this is after talking to a couple different locals and kind of vetting this theory. It is a working theory and I don't have anything that I can prove it with, but we believe, or I believe, that this is a meth lab that is run by a biker gang and that they have a distribution network set up through local Arabs. So we think it is a joint operation.
The bikers working with the Arabs.
Yes. And apparently that is not terribly uncommon.
It blows my mind. It's not, that is not a relationship that I don't think anyone would expect.
No, you wouldn't until you realize that Dearborn a few months ago, there was a 2-year investigation into Arab organized crime that was stealing cars, sending them to the Middle East. And I think they did I want to say it was 40 million. It might have been 400 million. I don't know. But they were stealing cars and sending them to the Middle East. And so they had that little organized crime ring. So once you realize that this kind of stuff is already happening, obviously we know, bikers are doing stuff like this, and then you've got Arab organized crime, and it's not that much of a stretch that they would be working together.
Right.
They do it in prison, so why not out in
You're right.
out in the real world?
You're right. And you're being sued by this owner?
So yeah, that's a complicated one. They have threatened to sue me.
Okay.
But if they did, the discovery on this would just ruin any shot that they would have of doing any kind of business in this city going forward. I can't imagine that they're actually going to try to go through with that.
Okay. So
but that was some additional threats that I got. Yeah, I've gotten so many threats.
Well, okay. So obviously Davey's doing the hard work out there, getting the death threats, getting the threats to sue. Tell them where they can find the documentary.
Yeah, it's going to be on my YouTube channel. So if you just, look up Davey Jackson on YouTube, it's the most recent video that we've posted. It's collaborated with Street Gonzo as well. Shout out Street Gonzo. He worked hard on this thing also. And our film guy, Joel Hodge, he just did such an incredible job. So yeah, go check it out on my YouTube.
It's Davey Jax? Is that with 3 X's?
It should be 2.
2?
Whoa.
That's why I was like,
now
you Davey?
We're getting into separate links in my bio.
XXX.
Should just be 2 X's, people.
It shows I literally, I was watching it on the monitor. I have vision
content.
problems.
It's out there.
All right. Well, make sure, go check out the documentary. I'm always happy to have you, Davey. I appreciate you. And
so much.
We'll see you next time.